You guys, it's that time again. Hashtag somewhere over there. Hashtag Go Independent. Our interview series talking to several awesome creatives who have taken their creative business full time. Today, we are literally talking to one of my favorite people in the world / universe. One of my favorite people, okay? You guys, Maya Elious of MySpace.com. She's epic. She has like a free 5-day email course and all this great information for branding yourself, for becoming awesome online. She's epic, epic. She's a former designer, still does some design, but is really transitioning her business to help more people at the same time. I'm so excited. Okay, but as you know, we've got to go with the corny joke of the day first. Here it is. Why couldn't the sesame seed leave the casino? Sesame seed can't leave the casino. Why? Because he was on a roll. Get it? On a roll, but he's like on a roll with sesame seed. Okay. Either way, let us go unto Charlotte, North Carolina to talk to Maya Elious. Hey y'all, back here again in Charlotte, and today we get to talk to one of my other favorite people in the universe, Maya. And I'm gonna go ahead and let you introduce yourself, Maya. Just tell the people who you are and what you do with your life.
All right. Hey everybody, my name is Maya Elious, and I am a design and brand strategist. I help visionaries and creative entrepreneurs make more money online through coaching and design.
What? So what are your sites? You got some different sites going on and some different brands that I love, by the way. So where can everyone find you online?
All right. So I have MyAelious.com. That is my personal brand. And then Brandwitch is my digital creative agency. That's BRNDWCH. And that is where I do the design and coaching put together.
I love it. So I guess give us a general idea of where the majority of your work and income comes from right now. You work for yourself full time. I'm sure a lot of people want to know about that.
Yeah, so the majority of my income right now comes from design, and then I'm actually in a transition where I want to do coaching a little bit more. So last month was the very first month where I got more money from coaching than I did from design. So it's actually kind of scary because transitioning is almost like starting from scratch. So it's like I'm trying to reinvent myself as an entrepreneur, so I can even put my own coaching skills to test and see like how well I'm actually like, if I do what I tell other people to do, will it really work? So it's really cool.
Yes. So that is one of the things I think I noticed about you was that, yes, you were a designer, but when I landed on your blog for the first time, I was like, dang, she has such good information. Like, I definitely feel like you're one of the people that I try and tweet out and share a lot because I know everything that you write is so valuable and just written from such a real perspective. And if I can tell the audience, one of my favorite posts on your site is the one where you were like the awkward stages of a redesign, of a rebrand.
Oh,
and she was just so honest about like where her design was when she started and then how it kind of transitioned into the beautiful site that it is now on her main site, MyAelious.com. So anyway, so tell me, I guess, what is your favorite part of now being independent?
Oh man, so my favorite part now about being independent is just like trying to travel more and being able to, spend time with my family. So I'm actually kind of like, as being in transition with my business, I'm kind of like in transition with my life. So I'm kind of like in transition between Charlotte and Atlanta. I've been in Charlotte for 7 years, and then a lot of my family is in Atlanta. So I get a chance to spend time with them. So I really love that.
I definitely feel like a lot of times your personal life and your business life kind of like are parallel. Like anytime like I would go to my car or my kitchen and it was like out of control messy, it was also the time in my business that I'm like, what day is it? I don't know. So
exactly. Yeah, exactly.
Always funny how that happens. So tell us about when you first realized like you wanted to work for yourself. Was it a clear-cut moment? Did you save up forever? How did you make the transition?
Okay, so I actually started my business when I was 18, and I've always just been like obsessed with the computer ever since I was 10 years old. So I used to make like these little ugly websites and like little graphics like through like AOL and things like that. Yeah, so as I got older, I used to have a MySpace page, and I used to like customize it. It was like those MySpace pages that just didn't look like the original layout.
Right.
It was completely customized, and I was just so obsessed with that. So when I was 18 and I moved to Charlotte, somebody offered me money to make a MySpace page. And I was like, oh, this is so cool. I can get paid doing something that I like, which is, you know, creating graphics online. So it was just like, oh, if I can get paid to do, you know, what I like, then I should do that. It wasn't like, I'm a business owner now. I'm an entrepreneur. It was just like, I just do the same nerdy stuff that I do, and now I get paid for it.
MySpace. You took it way back with that. I bet your MySpace was awesome.
I thought it was awesome back then, but when I look at the old pictures, it was like, oh my gosh. Like, it was like me maybe sitting on like the two like C Chanels or something like that. Like something so corny. Yeah, or like the, back then, because how old was I? I was like, you know, 17, 18. So like the Famous brand was really cool. Then you remember the letter F. So like everything had that. Oh man. And Ed Hardy was huge then.
Yes.
So all of those things were reflected back then. So I thought it was cool then, but looking back, it's like, girl, no.
I wish we could totally get to that old MySpace page. Anyway.
Oh man. Yeah, I will send you pictures of it too. It's embarrassing, but...
So tell me, I have some favorite items from your portfolio and from your site, but tell me about some of your own favorite pieces of work that you've done both in your portfolio and then also on your blog posts.
Okay, so some of my favorite pieces of work. Okay, so number one, like most recently, I just did a website for a boutique for a client that lives in South Carolina. It's called High Maintenance Boutique. And I really liked that project because the visuals were on point. So she used my photographer and my best friend, Josh, or a lot of people know him as Elious Creates. And I love being able to produce excellent work for my clients, especially when it's in conjunction with another creative that I have a great working relationship with. So that turned out really well, and she was really pleased with that. And I'm really happy everything went smoothly because the whole design phase hasn't been too smooth lately. So that was great. And then my other second favorite project this year has been the finance bar for my client, Marsha Barnes. She is a finance consultant, and she bought a bus. It used to be an old party bus, and she like completely gutted the inside and got this awesome interior designer named Quinn Gwynn. And so it just looks so absolutely beautiful. They have these cute little bars where people can, she has like laptops set up for her clients to do consultations and things. So love that.
That is so cool.
Yeah, I've been working with her since the very beginning, even before the finance bar. So just... We've both grown together, so I love having that relationship.
And where is she located?
She's in Charlotte.
Oh, wow. Everyone's in Charlotte. Like, oh my gosh.
We're in Charlotte. Or moving to Atlanta.
So, with a lot of your projects, I'm going to ask you about blog posts in a second, but with a lot of your projects, you try and structure them in such a way that you are linking your clients up with other creatives you trust, and you're not really trying to take on the whole project yourself. Yeah.
So even if it's like a skill that I'm familiar with, I still try to, you know, link out to a creative that I'm familiar with, primarily Josh. So even when Marsha, the finance bar, originally launched, I did all of the photography, all of the design for it. But then the second go around when she did her photography again, or maybe the third go around, I was like, you know, go ahead and reach out to Josh because his work is, you know, equally as good or even better as far as photography, and we have different styles. So I'm like, it's not that I'm not capable of doing it, but I want you to have the work from a different perspective. So the pictures came out so awesome. I loved it.
That's so great. So that's something you feel that you learned over time of like not taking the whole project on yourself every time?
Yeah.
Was it stressful beforehand?
It can be stressful depending on the client because I realized that so much of what I do, like my clients fully rely on me. Like they put the full trust of their business in my hands. So it can be stressful depending on who the client is. But I mean, I love it because it means so much to me that people even put that much trust in me because that's a huge deal.
That is a huge deal. So tell me about some of your favorite pieces that you've written on your site. I already explained mine about your awkward stages of a rebrand, redesign. I thought that was so cool and transparent of you. But what else have you written that you really feel is obviously true to your voice, everything you write? That's one of the things that I love about you. But what do you feel kind of shows your brand and your information? Wow.
I actually kind of feel like the story of my first year dropping out of college was one of my favorite ones because people like finally were like, oh, there's her story in full. Like, I get it now. Because I don't really advise, and I don't do it myself, like, put your full story in your bio. I don't really think that's the appropriate place. But that was a chance for me to be like, hey, guys, this is my story. And then this is how this part of my life has impacted where I am now. So, like, people got to learn about when I was in college and I drove a really crappy car and how I transitioned, you know, and, like, the background that I came from. So I really loved that. And also, along with another post where I talked about the 7 top mistakes or the 7 amateur mistakes I made as a business owner, because it's really easy for people to see me now and be like, oh my God, she has it together. But I really love being transparent. I love, you know, people being able to see me as flawed, because I feel like it kind of gives people more confidence. So I just want people to know, like, I'm human too. You know, I used to suck and then I got better by, you know, just keep working at it. So
that's so great. I used to suck, but then I got better. That's a great quote. Can you give us an example of one of those, like, amateur mistakes that you've learned from?
Oh, man. Oh, let's see. Definitely, like, contracts and proposals would probably
such
be
a
like
big thing.
Yeah, it's so huge. It would just, like, you know, I feel like every designer, like, goes through this phase where they're just so excited that people you want to work with them. They're like, here, you know, you can get a website for $200, and it's like, oh my gosh, why would you ever do that? Like, I remember I did a website that took me months, and I charged, I think, like $400 or $600, and I was like, why would I ever do that ever in my life? So, like, I learned from that mistake, and then when I took a course on double your freelance rate, I, like, learned how to properly do proposals and how to value and price myself properly. So, like, everything went up from there.
So the double your freelance rate, Joshua talked about that as well. Who teaches that? Where's that from?
His name is Brendan Dunn.
Okay.
Yeah.
And you both learned a lot and started taking proposals really seriously after that.
Yeah.
And here's the deal. I just want to, like, say this because even when I was a freelancer, I read other people say, always have a contract. You always have to put something in writing. And I was like, okay, sure. And just did it my own way anyway. Would you, like, legit say, always have a contract, even if the person is a friend or a family member or whatever?
Oh my gosh, yeah. My dad called me literally 2 days ago, and he goes through the exact same process that all of my other clients have to go through, because it keeps things from being messy, honestly. It protects not only you, but it protects your client as well. Yeah. So it's like, even if you want to come back to me and add something or remove something, and, you know, a lot of people are afraid to charge more, but it's like, you know, I gave you this price based on our contract, so I could just say, you know, it's going to be an additional whatever amount or whatever, just based on the contract, without feeling like, oh my gosh, but what if she's mad at me? I didn't tell her this price before. So
Gotcha. So tell us, like, since you've made the transition to full-time, what has been one of the largest challenges now that you're working for yourself every day?
I really have to say that there's 2 big challenges. Okay. And the challenge right now is transitioning from design to coaching, because I've done design for so long that now it's become my comfort zone. But I don't believe in staying in a comfort zone for very long. I feel like you have to leave that place in order to grow. And I feel like coaching is the new season that I need to step into. And it's been hard because that's where my money has come from for so long. And I have, like, these ride or die clients that are like, girl, where are you going? Yeah. Like, you have to take me with you. So it's really scary, but it's like, it's something that absolutely has to be done. Okay. And number 2 is building my team, because I don't want to completely get rid of the design aspect, because I'm very, very particular about my clients having design that looks very good and matches, you know, their drive and what they want to do. So trying to build a team of people that design as well as me, or that just really understand good aesthetic, it's really, really hard to find people that match your drive. So,
and you said you really feel like moving into coaching is what you absolutely have to do. Explain a little bit more about this, like, always moving forward. Like, why is that so important in the type of business that you run online and whatnot?
Okay. So I feel like, for me personally, like, when I first started design, and even when I got better with it, I was like, I can best help my audience doing design. And that's why I did it for so long. I was good at it. I was getting paid for it. People really loved it. Everything was like word of mouth for so long. And then once I learned so much more of the business aspect and I could do the coaching, I was like, I'm best as Maya Elious as a coach. Like, I'm doing my audience an injustice if I'm putting so much of my focus into design and not teaching them. So I feel like, if I don't grow out of that comfort zone space, they are going to suffer as well.
I love it. I love it. Okay, so tell us about how do you organize your days, your weeks? How do you do scheduling?
Okay. So I had this schedule down pat for a little bit, and then once I did the transition, it was just kind of oh my gosh, I don't know what I'm doing. So it was everything in Microsoft OneNote. I had a million books and stuff, especially because I had to run the blog, and then I had to make sure Brandwich was up to date, and then I'm basically running all of my clients' businesses, sort of for them, and then my coaching program, Blogademic. So I had 1,000,001 notebooks in Microsoft OneNote. And then I just had this really tall, big calendar from Walmart, just some whatever calendar. Because usually I like little cute notebooks, but I was for all the things I have to do, I need something big. So it was
takes up a whole wall, kind of.
Yeah, exactly. So I would just write the things to do list every single day for a week in advance. So if anybody would come to me for anything, if it wasn't on that list, it was I just have to push you back. So that way I knew my workday would be ending at a certain time, because I didn't want to become a slave to all of these projects that I hadn't planned for.
Gotcha. So how do you actually manage your client projects? Is that through OneNote, or do you use different software for that?
I actually use Basecamp, and I absolutely love it. And then so I can use it if I have a team, I can assign them things to do lists and different tasks and different due dates. So everybody's on the same page. Nobody really has an excuse to not do something, because it's all in there. So I just love all of us being connected.
Yeah. So for those who aren't familiar with Basecamp, can you give us a general idea of what it is, what the setup is?
Yeah. So Basecamp is a project management system. It has things to do lists, it has calendars, and you can actually invite your team members to see the different projects that you have, and you can also invite your clients. So you can specify which project or board or things to do list that you want your client to see, and then everything else can remain private. But then it's really great because your client can be right there with you, and then you guys don't have to go so much back and forth on emails.
I love that. I love that. So basically you're able to have your own private project going on, and then let different people into the aspects that you need them in on.
Yeah.
That's really, really valuable,
yeah,
especially when you're working with so many other people.
Yeah.
So speaking of tools, tell us some of the tools that you like. I would not function without these tools.
Okay. Definitely Dropbox. iMessage, as weird as it sounds, but I can do iMessage from my iMac, from my MacBook, from my iPad, from my iPhone. So it's I can stalk whoever I need to stalk. So if it's somebody on my team and they have any Apple product, I'm what's your iMessage thing? So I'm and then I even talk to my friends on there. So I'm always on iMessage, maybe talking to Josh, or talking to my sister, or one of my clients has access to me on there, which she loves because she's always messaging me from there. So I love that because I just love being able to communicate. So, and then Twitter, even though it's not for business. Well, I mean, I use it for both personal and business, but I'm just always on there.
Yeah, your tweets crack me up.
Thank you.
I feel I want to say how does she have so much time to tweet? But you just must stay with your phone, probably.
Oh my gosh, I do. It's probably not a good thing, but I do.
It's good to be so active on social media. What would you feel is the most, effective platform that you've been using social media-wise for your business?
I guess I would say Twitter, because I'm very, very active on there.
How do you actually, transition the conversation to business, or do you just participate in Twitter chats that are, how do you get people to your blog? How do you really...
Yeah, so as much as I use Twitter for, personal purposes, I always have a strategy with my social media, or else you're literally just going to be wasting time there. So the goal is to, number one, interact with my audience through there, and number two, get them to my blog. So what I do is I actually use a program called CoSchedule. It's a plugin through WordPress, and I just schedule all of my tweets out. So all of my blog posts that I've written from even months ago to the most recent ones, they're always being tweeted, and they're actually always being posted on Facebook as well. So even when I'm not tweeting about business, or when I'm not tweeting at all, I'm making sure that my posts are getting out there so people can go from my Twitter to my blog posts.
Super smart. Another tool that you were telling me about that you use is Infusionsoft. Are you able to do some of that same kind of automation stuff with Infusionsoft, or how does it work, and why do you use it over like a MailChimp or something like that?
Okay, so I really like Infusionsoft because it makes it really easy for me to do content upgrades. And so basically a content upgrade is you read a super awesome blog post of mine, and then I offer you like a PDF or a worksheet or something. You put in your email, and then Infusionsoft automatically sends it to you. And I know that MailChimp has that same capability, but Infusionsoft is specifically an email marketing system. Mm-hmm. So like I can even like track payments through there. It's very, it's such a great tool just to like grow your list and continue to engage with your customers. So that's why I really, really like it.
Okay, so let's get more back into personal stuff here about your motivation, your story. Do you feel there's something you would have done differently when you were making the transition kind of into working for yourself and realizing, oh, it's a business, I'm working for myself?
Honestly, the one thing that I would have done differently is just the way that I approached my parents about it, because that was really the thing that was hindering me. So my background is that my sister and I are first-generation Americans. My parents are from Liberia, West Africa, and they came to this country because of education, college. So they were very, very adamant about me graduating school, and I didn't start running my business full-time in the way that I needed to until that I had actually left that chapter of my life behind without completing it and actually transitioned to running it full-time. But there was so much of a procrastination. It took me like a year to like debate it and like have the courage to like reach out to them. But there was so much anxiety because I knew I was in a place in my life that I wasn't meant to be in.
Gotcha.
So if it was up to me, I would have just gotten it over with really quickly.
So how do you have any kind of tips for somebody who maybe is trying to transition into business and they have a situation where either they don't think their family or friends will like it or understand, or they definitely know they won't like it or understand? Like, you want to be a what? Like, no, go to school. Like, how do you have that kind of conversation?
Yeah. I think the most important thing is realizing that nobody is really going to understand your purpose the way that you are. Your purpose is something that's meant for you, and it's meant for the people that you are meant to help. So it's going to be like completely out of this world for anybody else to really fully understand it. Your purpose is something that's actually non-traditional. So a lot of people have a mindset of thinking traditionally. So when you want to do something non-traditional, people aren't going to be able to comprehend it. And you just have to realize that your level of thinking is completely different.
Agreed. So then I guess you really feel like this is about purpose. It's about, obviously, the type of content that you're able to offer and the value that it is. So I guess, how meaningful is it to you that you even get to do this every day? Like, what does that mean to you on a personal level?
It means so much to me. It means so much because, my tagline is follow your passion, live your purpose, because that's exactly in line with what I had to do. So my passion was design, and I truly feel like my purpose is actually helping people get out of that comfort zone and finally, step into their calling where they are running their businesses full time. And I feel like if I wasn't able to do my job, a lot of people would still be stuck in a place that they don't want to be in the same way that I was.
Gotcha. So with you, because you said you started your business when you were like 18, so you never necessarily did the whole route of working for the man and then, bump this, I'm never doing this again.
Yeah.
So your story is different, but for you, your thing that you really didn't want to be doing and you knew wasn't your place was staying in school for, no reason. But for people who are like maybe out there working for the man, or maybe they are at business or whatever it is that they're doing, and they're having a moment where they're like, should I really do this? I don't know if I believe that I can make this happen full time. They're just basically wavering in their faith in themselves or in their business. Do you have any words for them?
Yeah. Well, number one is to really just believe in yourself. I feel like we all go through this situation where we don't feel confident enough. And I feel like, being a successful business owner, it has a lot to do with mind shift change. So that's why I feel like it's really important for me, number one, before I'm informational, I have to be motivational. And that's the only way that, I can make a transformation in other people's lives. So number one is to really have the confidence. And then number two is to actually be rational about your situation.
Okay.
So obviously, you can't just up and quit your job, but you need to be realistic about, hey, what do I need to do to get to the place that I want to be in? So it shouldn't be like, I can't quit my job, so I don't need to do this. It should be, what do I need to do in order to be able to quit my job and do what I want?
Gotcha. So, quick story here. Like, the first guest post I ever did, like several years ago, was called The Evil of Complacency. And I know you
my
have
gosh.
some strong feelings about complacency. So tell me about it.
Oh, gosh. Complacency. Like when people just stay in this place where not only are they unhappy, but then they like verbally complain about it and they don't do anything about it. And I'm just like, I don't get it. It's so hard for me to understand. I'm just like, I know it's a confidence issue, but it's hard for me to help those people that would rather just complain about their situation rather than like acting on it. And I don't know, because I honestly, I feel blessed that I have, the trait of just being able to say, hey, I want to do this, and I do it and I get it done. And a lot of people don't have that. So it's hard for me to like connect with those type of people. But I'm just like, I don't know what to tell you. You either want it or you don't.
Right. So I kind of feel like if I think something you said, actually, this might have been in one of your blog posts, is almost like if you're like willing to give up on your dream to like remain complacent, then like the question is like, do you even really deserve it? Do you want it bad enough? And so, yeah. So my question for you is this: for somebody who is kind of having a hard time making that step, they're scared, they're a little bit scared of it, they do know they want it, they're kind of in that complacency part, what would be a good first step for them to kind of get moving, but like still be in safe zone, if you will?
Okay, yeah. I think really the first step is the people that you surround yourself with, because that is absolutely huge. So, if I would have only talked to my parents during that stage, I would still be in school, or I would have maybe graduated. I don't know. I did pretty poorly in school, so I'd probably still be there. But, I had people that were like, Maya, you are good enough. So even having people to just like hype you up, have cheerleaders around you, have people that support you, even people that don't fully understand what it is that you want to do. You want to have people that are maybe trying to be, have the similar goals as you. So people that are like-minded, people that are positive, people that are going to push you to be a better person, even if they don't understand where you're trying to go.
Gotcha. Okay, so my last question for you is this. If somebody is maybe trying to get into a similar space as what you do now, what would you tell them as the first step or so after kind of surrounding yourself with the right people? What should they practically do to get started?
So I think the first thing that they need to do to get started is identify who they want to help.
Okay.
Because that's like the biggest game changer with your business. And anytime I teach any type of like coaching program, that's what I lead with, just understanding who your audience is, because then everything else falls into place. Once you can get in the mind of the people who are eventually going to pay you, everything else is cool.
I love it. Know your people. Okay, so thank you so much for kind of talking with us today and telling us about your transition to full-time, which was really like at a kind of a young age, really, that you started that. It's just such a unique story. So I know it's going to inspire a lot of people, and we appreciate your time. We'll catch y'all on the next one.